on Wednesday, my second son, Nathaniel, and I were at a doctor's appointment for him. We've been going to a growth doctor specialist for him for about 3 years, I would say. He's always been on the smaller side for his age, and after a while, his friends are shaving, and they look down at me. They're 6'5", and then he's still kind of a little fella. And after a while, you start thinking, man, I hope nothing's wrong. And they would x-ray his hand and check out his skeletal measurements, and then they would take blood and check on his hormone levels, and everything kept coming out that he's a totally normal kid, that there's absolutely nothing wrong. And the thought was, he's just late. He's just a late bloomer. I was a late bloomer, not that extreme, but I was a late bloomer. His older brother's kind of late bloomer, and he's 6'1" now and still growing. And so we weren't really worried, but the doctor kept saying, just come back again. Let's just check, because if this doesn't kick in, I can give him something, maybe kind of boost puberty and kind of make sure to get him started. So Nathaniel has always been small. And you guys have been around a little bit. You've heard me talk about my first two boys and their love of soccer and everything. The oldest one's going to go play collegiate soccer on scholarship. We're proud of that. And this next one is the kid that's the most fanatical about it. He's so fanatical about soccer that when he made his Mother's Day card for his mom, he dug as deep as he could into his heart and came out with the strongest thing he could say to her about how much he loved her. And what he came up with was this: "Dear Mom, I love you more than soccer. I love you more than playing soccer. I love you more than watching soccer. I love you more than playing FIFA. I love you, Mom." That was his card. Now, if you knew him, that would be making you cry. Like, oh, he really loves her. Because this kid's a fanatic, man. And he's always been very good. He's always been the dominant player. He's always been the high scorer on every team he's played on, almost until recently. And he's always been little. When he was 6, he played with 9 and 10-year-olds. So show me the slide, the first slide of Nate. Here he is. He's in black. That's about what it always looks like. Now notice, he's the one with the ball, in position. That kid can't get it from him. Go to another one. Look at this. Now he's the one in red. Look at how tiny he is. Now this is years ago. He's probably 6 right there. And he was the high scorer on that team. Doesn't it look like I photoshopped it? This has been his life. But it started to change as all these kids started to become men. Right there, that boy is just older. But when they get to be the same age, and these other boys are men, and their thighs are the size of Nate's torso, it gets to be where it doesn't matter how much better than them you are. You don't get a chance to show it. Go to the next slide. This is him today. Number 44, captain of his team. See the yellow armband? Look at number 47 behind him. The kid behind him is a year younger. A year younger. That's how small he is compared to a lot. Now, number 45 ahead of him is the next smallest kid on his team. And most of the team is somewhere above that. So you can imagine a kid that this is his whole dream. His whole life, it's been his dream. His entire life, since he was about 4, this has been his only dream. Now, you and I know the odds and all. I understand. But to a little kid, those dreams are so real. And so we were at the growth doctor the other day, and now Nate's very much for sure into puberty. We talk about girls all the time. He's got a little cookie duster mustache coming. He's grown 3 inches in 6 months. He can hardly play because he hurts so bad below the knees. He can't train he can't run on a treadmill right now because his knees hurt so bad. He's growing so fast. And so the doctor was taking all these measurements, and they've been doing this for all these 3 years. And then the doctor, and by the way, this doctor is so cool. I was reading something the other day that the average physician has 36 seconds of interaction with their patients. They come in, it's 36 seconds of true interaction, and they're gone. Not this doctor. This guy's always been cool because he has sons the same ages as mine, and they play soccer in our same town. And he knows, and his kids are really good too. And he knows who Nate is. He knows of Nate. He knows that Nate plays on the academy, which is the highest level you can play as a 15-year-old in the United States. He knows who Nate is. And so he sits down, and he just takes time, and he talks to Nate, and he kind of relates to him. And I noticed they're playing you in center, attacking mid. Do you like that better than the wing? And Nate's like, yeah, I really do, because I get to control the game more. And if I grow, I'm going to go back up to striker where I used to go because I don't score as much anymore. And, and this guy's going back and forth. And then Dr. Ali kind of smiled, and he said, he's got this really cool little accent. He's one of my heroes now after Wednesday. And he turns around, and he says, Nate, let me show you this chart. And he turns around, and he turns on this computer screen, and it's a chart of the rate or the velocity of growth of the average humans across their ages. And it shows them when they're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It shows them the ages right across the bottom. And then it shows how much they grow when they're 2 and 3, and then they kind of slow down, and then they speed up. And then when they hit puberty, it shows, now this is for boys. The girls' curve is different. And it shows this curve, and then it goes up, and then it slows down, and then it kind of tapers off as they get into their 20s, and they're really not growing anymore. So the big, huge spike comes, and I got my hands apart because there were 10 lines. 10 lines based on the lowest percentile and the highest percentile, and it shows like the upper percentile people, they go a certain speed, and it's about 4 inches a year is kind of the max. And then I know lots of us have actually grown faster that year, but 4 inches a year is about the most of the upper percentiles, and then and so it just shows this curve. And he said, I can't do his accent. I wish I could, because so the way he speaks so kindly, and he was just talking right to Nate. And he said, you are 99.5% behind every other boy your age. 99.5 out of every other 15-year-old boy in the world hit puberty before you did. You had to watch every one of them start to grow first. Every one of them get taller first. Every one of them get stronger first. Every one of them have their voice change first. Every one of them become a man first. He said, but now is your time. He said, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You have no hormonal imbalances. There's nothing wrong with you whatsoever. You are simply a late bloomer. As a matter of fact, you are now kicking in, and he's punching all these numbers in, and he says, your target height is 5'11". Now, this little kid I just showed you, his whole life, he's been the smallest kid in school, the smallest kid on the team, the smallest kid everywhere, his whole life. Girls don't understand what that's like as much as us men do. And this doctor says, your target height is 5'11". But depending on how you eat and how you sleep, you could get it as much as 6'1". Or it could be as little as 5'9". And Nate never thought he's even going to make 5'7". And you can see Nate sitting there on the side of that doctor's table. You know, they roll the paper out on, he's sitting up there, and his feet are swinging. He's still small for his age, and his hands are on his knees. And he's looking at the doctor, and you can just see it in his face. The dream coming back alive. What he's wanted his whole life. Coming back alive. Because somebody told him that the external constraints, these external reasons, these outside factors that buried you in obscurity, even though you were training and working and trying hard and probably more talented than any of them, these outside factors that pushed you down into obscurity and even started to mess with your confidence are gone. And he said these 3 sentences. I got out to the car and I wrote them down. And he said this, and I want you to hear these for you. And here's what he said. Hold on, here's what he said. He said 3 sentences, and I want these for you. He said, number 1, you are going to grow. And number 2, he said, you have permission to finish your dreams. And number 3, he said, it's going to happen, Nathaniel. The rest is up to you. And I say these things to you. You are going to grow. You have permission to finish and live your dreams. And it's going to happen. We are going to build the company that you deserve. And the rest is up to you. Get it done, guys.